Okay, so I'm gonna do an intro. Good morning, everybody. We're gonna start standing up, and you will probably not see my face because my camera is not far enough away. But we are gonna work on strengthening the thighs first thing this morning for Miss Ashley. And let's do it, Ashley. Okay, so here we go. I want you to stand next to something. I've got my hand up on this thing, and you're going to take your right leg and lift it up and put it out in front of you just a little bit. And what I want you to do is take your left knee and just bend it enough so you can tap your heel to the floor and then straighten it. Tap and straighten. And if you'll notice, my upper back, I'm leaning slightly back. I'm not doing it purposely, but you want to keep your back real straight. So you're kind of at an angle with this leg that's popping out in front of you. So I'm standing on my left leg. I've got my right foot out in front of me, my ankle flexed, and I'm tapping my heel on the floor. So I'm just going down and up. Down and up. All right, let's switch legs. So now I'm going to stand on my right leg. You might want to switch which side you're holding on to. You don't need to. I'm just going to do this way. And I'm flexing my left foot in front of me. So you're bringing your toes back towards your knees. I want you to think more of the top of your ankle coming towards your shin. Let your toes stay kind of relaxed. And then you want to tap that heel down on the floor and up and tap and up. And this is working your quad. Tap and up and tap and up. And if any of you have knee problems, this is great for your knees. And up. And if you're just starting out and your knees are really sore, then you bring your foot a little closer to you. So it's a smaller way to go to get that tap, but you're getting a bend in your left ankle and you're coming up. So you got that, tap and up, tap and up. And then the next one that I love, you're going to sit yourself down, but back up to a wall, please. So I'll give you a minute to find that wall to sit up against, because we want to keep our spine as tall as we can. So you will be backing up against the wall. I am going to move my camera. All right. All right, so back up against the wall. Now, the closer your booty is to the wall, the harder this is going to be. So what I want you to do is I want you to take your right knee and I want you to bend it and just grab onto it. So sit up tall, shoulders are back, spine is tall. Flex your left foot, and I'm scooted way back to this thing, and I want you to lift your heel up off the floor. That's going to put tension right here in your quad. It's not going to put any tension in your knee. It's not going to work at joint, which is kind of nice if you have knee problems. And you're going to lift and lower. It won't go very high. Now, let's switch legs. And if you get to this leg and you're like, ugh, my butt's up against the wall, I can't lift this leg. You're going to scoot away from the wall, just an inch or two. See if you can do it now. Up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And you should feel this right in the big quad muscle that your rectus femoris that runs up the top of your leg. So let's do one more set. So I want you to do 6 of these. I want you to lift up and down. So you're concentrating on your heel coming off the ground. And the closer your rear end is to the wall, the harder it's going to be. This is great for people that have aches and pains in their knees because you're not bending and extending your knee, and you're strengthening those muscles around the knee. All right, let's do this one. And lift and lower. And you might have a leg that works better. One might work better than the other. Keep doing these until you can get it even, not in one day, but go back to it. You can do these daily. This is a great quad strengthener. So we wanted to strengthen the legs to do some leg stuff. And the hamstrings back here are a big part of that. So let's go down on our backs. And I want to do some hamstring work with you because we've got to work the back side of this quadricep too. We've got to get front and back of the legs. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start off with the ankles. Your ankles must be mobile. They keep those knees happy. So all I want you to do is I want you to plant your heels on the floor. I want you to keep your heels planted on the floor, but I want you to pretend like you're sliding them back to your hips. So you're bringing them back to the hips. They're planted to the floor. And then lift the rest of the foot up off the floor and take it down. So we're engaging these hamstrings, just doing this subtle move. So your feet are planted on the floor. They're not going to move, but in your mind, you're trying to bring those heels back to your hips, back to your rear end, and then you're going to lift the foot, keeping the heels down, off the floor. And relax. Now, if this causes any cramping in the hamstrings, just bring it up like this and move out of it. I want you to know that because we're going to get a little deeper into this. So go ahead and press your feet into the floor. Press, press, press. Keep your heels on the floor. They're going back towards your hips. You're pulling them back. You're pulling them back, but you're lifting your feet up off the floor. Great move for the whole posterior chain, the back side of your leg, and take it down. Okay, we're going to add on to this. So what I want you to do is we're going to go back into that same move. Your feet are planted on the floor. Pull your heels back towards your hips. Lift your feet up off the floor. Keep your hips or your heels on the floor. Now I want you to lift your hips up off the floor where you can go. And keep pulling those heels back to your hips. Feel the tightness in the hamstrings. And let's lower down and relax it. So we're going to bring that all together one more time. So we're going to push our feet into the floor. We're going to pull our heels back to our hips. Engage those hamstrings. Lift the feet up off the floor. Keep the heels down. Now lift the hips. You're going to squeeze those glutes like we always do. Lift the hips up off the floor and hold it. Hold it. Hold it. And take it down. And drop it down. Let's do that one more time and then we're going to add on again. So your heels are pushed down in the floor. This is your first move. Your first move to warm it up is feet in the floor, heels in the floor, heels pulling back towards your hips, lifting the foot off the floor, keeping the heels down. That engages the hamstrings. We take it to the next level by squeezing our glutes and lifting our hips and holding, holding, holding. There you go. Keep it tight. Everything on the backside's working. And take it down and relax. Okay, this time we're going to add on. Be prepared. So we're going to take our heels into the floor. We're doing what? We're pulling our heels back to our hips. We're lifting our toes and our feet up off the floor. We're going to squeeze our glutes and lift our hips up. Now I want you to take your left leg and bring it up off the mat. Take your left hand, push your hand into your knee, then take your right arm and bring it up. This is a sprinter's pose. For everybody that's getting ready to run in that race in Bermuda, this is for you. Hold it and take it down. Just relax it. All right, let's do the other side. You know what to do. You're planting your heels into the floor. You're squeezing your heels back toward your hips. You're lifting your feet, your toes up off the ground. Your heels stay down. Squeezing your glutes, lifting your hips, Bring your right knee towards your chest. Take your right hand and push your right knee into your right hand. Get a nice symmetric going there. Bring your left arm up. You're in your sprinter's pose. Work it, hold it, hold it. Get the core engaged, get the hamstrings engaged, get the hip flexors engaged, and take it down. Stretch the legs out long and just point and flex at the feet. So those are some great moves that you can use to get your hamstrings and your quadriceps engaged. So let's move it up to the core just a little bit, because as you're working, everything has to work together. So you might feel weak in one area, but if you're not engaging in your core, you're falling down through your legs and causing a lot of work for your legs. So let's make sure the core is engaged. So what I want you to do is plant your feet on the floor, knees are bent. I want you to put both palms onto the floor, open them up really wide. Pretend like they're suction cups and they're suction cupping into the floor, and relax the fingers into the floor. Your palms are spread open into the floor and you're giving it a little press. We're not pressing through the floor, but after you do that, what I want you to do is take your head and I want you to look towards your knees. So your chin is coming towards your chest. And then I want you to pull your navel into your spine. And you're pushing that spine into the floor. And when you're doing that, you're rounding this part of your pubic bone up towards your nose. We're not lifting the hips up off the floor. It's a very subtle move for these lower abdominals. So go ahead and pull the navel into the spine. Your hands are pressed into the floor. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Now let's release it. So on this one, we're putting some neural input in by putting our hands down on the floor to engage these lower abdominal muscles. If anybody's ever had any abdominal surgery, like a C-section or anything, this is like the perfect move. So go ahead, take your palms, place them into the floor. Take your chin to your chest so your neck is rounding into the floor as your low back rounds into the floor. I want you to look towards the top of your knees. I want you to pull your navel into your spine so you're pushing your low back into the floor, and it's a gentle tilt of this pubic bone. You're using these lower abdominal muscles to keep this whole pelvic complex in place as we're doing squats, as we're running, as we're walking. You need this tilt right here. You need this control. And then I want you to let go and breathe. Don't forget to breathe. All right, we're going to do that again until we get it really ingrained in our system. This is a great warm-up. All these are great warm-ups for any type of exercise you're getting ready to do. So once again, we've got our palms. Mine are kind of like glowing. That's pretty cool. Put your palms into the floor. You're not pushing through the floor, but you just want to get that feedback from the ground. I want you to look at the top of your knees so you're rounding your neck into the floor. Now I want you to pull your navel tight into your spine and feel that little tilt right here of the pubic bone going up towards your nose. And I want you to hold that tilt. Just hold it. Keep breathing while you hold it. Keep breathing. It's a hold for a long 6. And then I want you to relax it, because releasing it for a long count of 6 is as important as holding it for the long count of 6. So you guys know what to do now. We've got our palms pressed into the floor. We're bringing our chin towards our chest because we want our low back, our neck, going the same direction as our low back. So we're pushing it into the floor. We're looking at the top of our knees, pulling the navel into the spine and getting a gentle tilt there of the pubic bone. Feel these lower abdominals engage. Feel it tighten all the way through there. Keep holding it. It's a long 6. And release it. All right, we're going to add on to that. Okay, so we're going to get it a little higher up. We're going to bring the rib cage into this. So we worked with the hamstrings and the quads. They attach to the bottom side of your whole pelvic complex. Now we're working with the lower abdominals. that attach to the top side of your pelvic complex. And now we're going to take it up to the top of these hip bones and to the ribs. We've got our oblique muscles. We're going to work them. So we're going to get this whole complex going. So when you go into a squat or something, you're strong, you're ready, you can do this. So here we go. Let's go ahead and go into our what we were just doing. So you're placing your palms on the floor, suctioning cup to the floor. You're not pushing through the floor. Your chin is looking down. Your chin is tilted, so you're looking at your knees. Pull your navel into your spine. Get that pelvic tilt. Get that pelvic tilt. Now you've got the tilt. I want you to lift your shoulders up off the floor just a little bit. So your hands are even with the floor. They're parallel to the floor. You're keeping that chin tilted towards your chest. And I want you just to pulse your hands like you're reaching just towards your heels. So we're not lifting our body up. We're sliding the bottom of our rib cage towards the top of our hip bones here. So it's just a little pulse of the ribs, bringing them closer to the hips. You're holding that nice pelvic tilt and take it down. Now, if this bothers your neck, you don't have to go as high for one, or you can take one hand and put it behind your head. I prefer you just to lower it, not go quite as high, and see if you can get that same engagement. So let's do it one more time. So you're pushing your palms into the floor. You're going to pull your navel into your spine. You guys should be doing this every day, even if you can just do it a couple times a day to engage these lower abdominals. Now we're going to lift our shoulders a little bit off the floor. So I'm not going to go as high, just lifting our arms off the floor. And then I'm just taking my rib cage to the top of my hip bone. Super small move, super small move. And if you need to, your hand can come behind your head, just like this. But I want you to feel it all down here and lower down. All right, good job, good job. We're going to go into a plank. So we're going to set the posterior chain of this whole abdominal complex into action too. So what I want you to do is I want you to go over on your hands and knees. And before we go into that plank, we're going to give it a little bit of a rotation through our spine. We're going to warm up our spine. We're going to get our spinal fluids flowing. So we'll come up to tabletop, hands and knees. And tabletop means a true table. You don't want your table legs way out here. Okay, I want your hands right under your shoulders. I want your knees right under your hips. And go ahead and plant those palms into the ground and flatten your feet. Just go into a relaxed state. We're going to go into cat and cow. So I want you to pull your navel into your spine, just like we were doing when we were on our backs, and bring your chin to your chest. So see how your whole spine goes into an arch. It rounds, it rounds, it rounds. Now keep that roundness in your spine. Keep that navel pressing up through the ceiling. And I want you to push your hips back to your heels as you stay round. Feel that openness in the spine, in all the vertebrae. Once you get back as far as you can, I want you to bring your elbows to the floor. And I want you to relax your spine and lift your chest through your hands and your chins up. Let's do that again. So I want you to round, round, round your spine to the ceiling. I want you to push your hips back, back, back. Keep it round. Keep that spine open. I want you to drop your elbows to the floor. I want you to lift your chin, slide your chest up through your hands like a cobra. And let's keep it here. All righty. So what I want you to do before we go into our plank, let's do one more strengthening for our quads. Curl your toes under. And from here, I want you just to lift your knees, hover them above the floor. Just hold it. So now to do this correctly and to hold that back safe, you're pulling your navel into your spine, just like we were doing when we were on our back. And just hold your knees up off the floor. Feel those quads work. You might get a little shake. And let's take it down. And once again, flatten your feet, round your spine, push it back, back, back. Drop down, chin comes up, back relaxes. Come on up. Let's curl the toes. We're going to lift the knees up off the floor. Just hovering, just enough to hover. We're not going terribly high. Just keep it up here. Just keep it up here. Feel it in your quads. Feel it in your quads. Drop it down. Relax the feet. Round your back. Sit back on your heels. This is your massage portion of the class. Come up through like a cobra. Let's go back into that lift. So you're curling your toes under. Knees come slightly off the floor, I'd say a couple inches. And you're just hovering. Just hovering. Pull that navel in tight. Pull it in tight. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it till it burns. I can feel this. I hope you guys can too. Take it down. Let's go back into that stretch one more time. And as promised, we're going to do a little planking. So let's go into a plank. There's two ways to do this. You can do it from your knees. You can do it from your with your legs straight. But let's do it from our elbows. So I want your elbows to be right under your shoulders. And I want you to drive your knees back into this position. Or if you like, you're going to go with a straight leg. So you can either be here with a straight leg or be here. But I'm going to talk to you about the shoulders. So what I want you to do, let's start on our knees because I want you to really feel this. Remember how we were pulling our heels back to our hips? I want you to think of pulling your shoulder blades back down your body into your back pockets. So you're bringing your shoulder blades back towards your hips. Bring them back towards your hips as you're in this plank position. Work those lats. So this way you're working your lats, that big muscle up your back. But guess what? It attaches to your hips. So we got to have all this strong. So hold it, hold it, hold it. And let's take it down. So we went into that a little bit backwards. So we're going to start on the ground. We're going to have our elbows right under our shoulders. And if you want to go from your toes, you can go from your toes or you can go from your knees. And so I'm going to go from my toes this time. But what I want you to pay attention to is where your elbows and your shoulder, where you're feeling it in your elbows and your shoulders. So let's lift up off the ground, pull your navel into your spine. I want you to think of pushing your shoulder blades back down your body. Think of those shoulder blades. You're pushing them back down your body. You're bringing your elbows back towards your hips. Just like we were bringing our heels towards our hips, you're pulling them back. Your shoulders are back. Your navel's in tight. And you're holding, holding, holding. And you take it down. All right, let's do that one more time. I'm going to show the modified version. So once again, we're thinking about where our elbows are, where our shoulders are. We're not just using these arms as a prop, guys. We're making it work. This lat muscle runs from your arm here all the way down to your hip here. Got to have it strong. So here we go. Your elbows are on the floor. Before you even lift, you can take your elbows, push them into the floor, and kind of push them back towards your hips. Now, your shoulders automatically should go back and feel your shoulder blades slide back down your body. Now, pull your navel into your spine and lift your hips up off the floor. And now you're in a perfect plank. Hold that plank. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Keep breathing, but you've got that navel tucked in, spine really tight. If you're feeling aching and stuff in your low back, then your navel's not pulled in tight enough. And I want you to come out of it and go back into it. But we're working that whole posterior chain. So we've worked all the way from our heels up to our shoulders back here. And take it down. All right. Let's get in a seated position. So here's what I want you to do. Let's roll those shoulders around. Give them a little bit of a break. So just up and down. Lift up, roll back. Lift up, roll back. Lift up, roll back. Now let's reverse that. So what I want you to do is bring those shoulders up to your ears. You're wearing them like earrings. Bring them forward. Push them down. Bring those shoulders up to your ears. Roll them forward. Push them down. So don't just let them drop. Push them down. Bring them up. Roll them forward. Push them down. All right, let's finish up with some arm circles. I love this one. A lot of you know it. We're going to do the golfer's grip. So you're going to have your palms wide open. You're going to fold the tips of your fingers down. Your thumbs are open. So you got this big space here. You can feel that open. And what I want you to do now is take your arms out to the side. Go ahead and point your palms down to the floor so your thumbs are pointing forward. And I want you to circle the direction your thumbs are pointing. So you're going to feel this all the way up to this shoulder capsule. You're not going to feel it here as much. We're taking it all the way up to the shoulder joint by pointing those thumbs, keeping those palms open and circling, reaching. Got a nice big wingspan here, guys. Reach it out, reach that. Now drop it down. Okay, we're going to go back to our palms, wide open. Fold those fingertips in. Take your arms out to the side. Now you're flipping the palms up. And we're going to circle the direction our thumbs are pointing, so we're circling back. This is my favorite. I love the circle backwards. And because we're on our phone, because we're on our computer, because we're always hunched over, these are going to really help your posture. So feel this working all the way into the back, between your shoulder blades, in your shoulders. This is moving your whole shoulder complex. All right. Cake it in for a big hug. Give yourself a hug. Love your body today. That's it. I hope you feel good. I hope you feel like you worked up one side and back down the other. Thanks, guys. So Ash, how'd you do? Ashley, I cannot hear you.
Oh, my bad. Tina's still alive, but I'm doing pretty good. Oh, wow. I stood up. Oh, wow.
Are your legs moving now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're moving now.
Well, I hope you can remember some of these moves. Tina's recording it and she probably still is. But you can go back to any of these and use pick and choose and use those to strengthen your legs. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, have a great day.
You too. Later.
I'll see if I can sign us off this. Now she's on island time, you know.
She's only an hour behind us. She's fine. She's perfectly fine.
I know, but she's in the islands. It has some kind of magic over you.
All right. Yeah.
See you later. Bye.